それが夜明け前のものであるなら少しだけ微笑ましい。何一つ形のない人のいない海だとしても。
それが君の心のあり方なんだね。何もないことが君の形だった。
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day one of the round of 8 of Rogue City Rumble, a Rogues Gallery event. Casting tonight is I'll be casting. I'm Keen, and with me is Just, and then observing as usual is Tim. So, what's up, Just? How's it going tonight?
Yo, it's going good. What's up, Keen? How are you? I'm excited about the games.
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm happy to have you back casting. It's been a while, dude.
Yeah, it has been a while. They've been out there living real life, you know. Things get crazy, things get hectic. Brood War's always here, but I'm happy to be back too.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you back. What do you think about the matches tonight? Looks like we'll be having one ZVZ and a ZVP.
Pretty crazy. I think the ZVP has the opportunity to be super interesting with how good StRyKeR's gotten. He definitely might be able to give BoA, a run for his money. And the ZVZ, Hawk versus Michael is going to be fucking crazy. So that's just going to be a wild match, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, so do you personally? I know you were playing for a while before StarCraft Remastered came out, I believe. Are you familiar with Michael? Because he's sort of a newcomer to the scene for anyone who just started playing the last year or so.
I'm fairly familiar with him. I'm not I haven't seen a shitload of his games, but yeah, I'm fairly familiar with him.
Okay, yeah, I'm just asking because he's kind of a dark horse as far as I'm concerned. He kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, it's really interesting. I honestly have no idea what to expect for him versus Hawk.
I wasn't aware that he had been practicing that much, but he's just made it so far in this tournament that,
Yeah, and he's even made it into the round of 16 of BSL, I believe. So
yeah, crushing it in BSL
another surprise.
Great to see some NA players going far in BSL.
For sure.
That Crossy and StRyKeR got knocked out, but
yeah, that was heartbreaking. I mean, I feel like we should just stop talking about it now and just sweep that under the rug, pretend it never happened.
That never happened.
But Hawk is also in the round of 16, so props to him. I mean, pretty sick.
Definitely some exciting things going on there, but let's get on with the Rogue City Gallery event, though.
Yeah. So tonight, unlike the previous rounds, we won't be having a fixed set of maps. We'll just the players will be allowed one veto, and then loser picks next map. I believe we're starting on Polyport actually, but yeah. After that, then it's just loser picks. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about these maps? They're all fairly standard pro maps, right?
Yeah, they're all pretty standard. I don't think any of them are that crazy. Since it is just a best of 5, we're obviously not going to see every map, so be curious to see which ones end up getting left out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how, I'm curious, because Michael has a kind of reputation for being a cheeser, right? But there is kind of a limited amount of cheeses you can do in ZVZ. But I would think, if you really want to be doing sneaky sort of all-in stuff or getting a build order advantage, you would want to focus on the 4-player maps, because then, it introduces more scouting variants. So maybe he would try to ban Eclipse or Benzene or something, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I know there's some cheeses I've seen a lot of Zergs do, even in ZVZ on Radiant Bloom, so that might be a map that he picks as well, just because it can be so strong early game.
Yeah. What kind of cheeses? Any cheeky sunken rushes or anything?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of sunken rushes. I saw Sulky do a sunken rush against Zero, I think, and it didn't work. And I mean, Sulky just cheeses all the time now, so.
Oh, really? I've been keeping up with Sulky, honestly. He does kind of do just really strange builds all the time, though, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I feel like he.
Very wild player.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you need money, then just do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, need money, Lamo.
Yeah. So anyway, but I mean, it's still ZVZ, so I don't know. The maps probably won't be too impactful, being a mere matchup. How do you feel about these maps for the ZVP, though?
I think it's pretty even. I mean, some of these maps are really good for Protoss. Some of them are, pretty good for Zerg. I don't think there's a clear advantage for either side. I'm just curious to see which maps they'll actually end up picking, because I could see like StRyKeR's Temple and Ringing Bloom being avoided. I guess now that they're both ladder maps, I mean, I don't know. Benzene's probably something that a Protoss player would like to avoid most of the time, so we'll have to see if that map gets picked. But I know BoA really likes doing Reaver Shuttle, so I'm not even really sure if that's true for him.
Yeah, but I feel like Benzene is like the only map that Zerg is a clear favorite in ZVP on like out of this pool. But like you said, I mean, we've seen BoA just like crush Zergs going Reaver Shuttle, which is a pretty strong strategy on that map for sure. So it's like, yeah, I don't even know. Like, I honestly, I would just be terrified to play against a player of BoA's caliber on all these maps. I mean, StRyKeR is tough. Ringing Bloom is tough, especially with that extra gas. Optimizer is like absolutely insane for Protoss. Yeah, I just don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. It is definitely going to be interesting to see how it is played. Do you think we're going to see any lurkers?
Lurkers in the ZVZ, you mean, or
in the ZVP?
Oh, okay. Well, I would say maybe, hard maybe on the lurkers, but anyway, let's talk about Michael. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, he's pretty recent new addition back to the scene, but like, definitely an old school player. In 2017, he got first place in the Zotek Cup Masters, which was a huge tournament as far as I remember. Yeah, and then he just like dropped off the face of the planet. I mean, it's kind of strange, honestly. Like right after StRyKeR Remastered comes out, you like win a huge event, and then you just stop playing. I mean, I guess we can thank COVID for bringing him back to the scene, though.
Yeah, thank you, COVID.
Yeah, thank you for all the big shout out to COVID, all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We love you. And then Hawk, Hawk, just one of the most well-known Zergs in North America, right? I mean, he's been in so many tournaments. Second place in the last North American Star League that TDR hosted in 2019. Stalwart member of USAA. He played multiple foul play and ASHO matches for Rogues Gallery, and yeah, he traveled to Moscow for an RCG a couple years ago. Like the guy's just been all over the place. Really one of the premier players in North America.
Such a sick style to watch too, so interesting, such like an intelligent style. A lot of stuff he does you think isn't going to work, and then he just makes it work.
Yeah, I mean, I really respect Hawk so much as a Zerg player. Like I admire his patience most of all. Like he's very calculating. He just I feel like he never missteps as far as like tunnel visioning, like I see a lot of other Zergs do, like just getting too focused on like going all in or aggressive. Like I feel like he's really good about just preserving his advantage whenever he gets one and just pushing things forward, like really twisting the knife,
Definitely, I agree. I agree with that statement, Keen. You're a smart man.
Well, looks like our game will be starting shortly. And as we said, first map will be Polypoid.
Cheese King is, of course, Michael.
Yeah, he's repping his classic ID Cheese King, so maybe it's a little foreshadowing. I really hope we can see some interesting builds. I mean, I don't know what Michael's CVZ is like, but anyway, looks like Hawk will be in the bottom left corner of the map. And then Cheese King, our green Zerg, will be in top left. So right away, it looks like Cheese King is going to get a scouting advantage.
Yeah, talk about how important that is in CVZ, Keen.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's huge, right? Especially if you're playing against kind of a wildcard player, like, Hawk might not... I don't know. I mean, I think they're both very active on ladder, right? So they probably have ran into each other at least a few times. But, I mean... as far as I'm concerned, Cheese King is a total wild card. So I would be a little nervous if I didn't get first scout and then, Michael gets first scout on me. He's going to see exactly what I'm doing. And then Hawk, it'll be a while before he's able to get Lings out and figure out if, Michael is going hatchery first, pool first, it's just an extra layer of security. So here we see Hawk actually getting gas first, and it looks like it'll be an overgas, I believe. Yeah, no extractor trick. Meanwhile, Michael is actually going for either a 12 pool or a 12 hatch. So I know you're a Protoss player, Just, but you did used to play Zerg. Do you? How do you feel about just ZVZ in general?
Yeah, ZVZ's always been interesting. It's always been a really fun, fast-paced matchup. So it's definitely exciting. Obviously, it can be a little bit frustrating with the build order advantages and just how important scouting is, like you said. So, Michael has a pretty big advantage here just because his Overlord went in the right direction at the start of the game. And that's obviously less fun when it doesn't happen in your favor. But it's definitely just such a fun, exciting matchup. So, yeah, I've always really enjoyed ZVZ, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And so it looks like Michael ended up going for a 12 pool. So just, make me eat my words. Not even remotely cheesy, just the absolute most middle of the road standard build that you can do.
But a definite advantage for him, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going into the builds that they're currently going up against. Hawk is definitely going to have faster Mutalisks here, but the faster Mutalisks are not going to be able to compensate for the massive economic advantage Michael seems to be getting right now.
Yeah, for sure. A little surprising. It looks like Michael went speed first, right, rather than lair first. Even though he got this scouting info, that I think he saw the second Overlord, but he certainly saw that it was just a one hatch build.
Is something he's also seen though. It's just how few lings that Hawk has made since he's had his Overlord there the whole time. He's literally seen every ling that's left, so he should know that he's going to have an overwhelming ling advantage here. So maybe the speed is a good idea here. He might just be able to completely overwhelm Hawk here when his speed finishes.
Absolutely, he definitely has the potential to overwhelm Hawk. But Hawk will get the scouting info here, and he'll see, he'll confirm the build and everything. That is one way to kind of push your advantage a little bit. Just try to make the overgas player, really commit to either making a sunk or making lings, and just forcing them not to be able to just get their second hatch very quickly and drone up.
I think your microwave pizza's done.
Yeah, I'll go check on that in a second. Sorry about that.
Okay, now we're finally getting the layer here, and we do have the speed finish for Michael. He's going across the map right now. You can see he already has a ling advantage here, so probably not enough to break up the ramp quite yet, but if he's still making more and more lings, which it looks like he might be pulling them back at his natural, then there might be a timing here before speed is done when he can bust up this ramp and maybe get some damage done to Hawk here.
Yeah, it's really hard to bust up the ramp, right? I feel like Hawk is pretty secure at this point.
So how do you feel about their positions here with...
Well, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bad for Hawk. It kind of hurts when you're going over gas not to be able to get the second hatch. Michael was able to force enough lings to delay that second hatch, right? So what I'm guessing is... I feel like Hawk is at a little bit of a disadvantage, like we discussed. This is interesting. Okay, I believe he's just getting this, so he canceled it. Okay, so he just made that creep colony so he can make an extra muta before making an Overlord. But yeah, anyway, he wasn't able to get the in-base second hatch, right? Which is ideally what you would want, so you can get 5 to 6 meters right away off of overgas. But instead, he's just going to make his second hatch at his natural when his mutas get out. And he will be able to force these spores. So it's not the worst position, but I do feel like he could certainly be in a better position.
I think a lot of Zerglings here for free too, which I think is really good for him. He might even have a timing where he can get some Zerglings in the main with his Mutalisks on top of it, and that could be devastating here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you see Michael here. He was actually making a sunken there for a second because he doesn't know if he can hold off just the lings that are coming across the map right now.
Yeah, it is very awkward that he just let all those lings. He should have moved the lings back, and now we see Hawk just probing in, seeing if he can run lings by. And this is a really awkward position. It looks like
this looks really bad.
Yeah, I think he might have just lost. If he focuses down that sunken, Michael is pretty in trouble. But yeah, he's going into the main now. He can
Even
also...
this looks so devastating for the economy here.
Yeah, absolutely. Having to pump lings and lose drones like that, on top of making not just 3 spores, but also the sunken, is really, really bad. And we see Hawk is getting his natural up now.
Yeah, and Michael sending some Zerglings across the map to desperately try to get a counterattack here, but I don't think it's going to work at all. You can see Mutalisk already coming back to defend the natural. These Zerglings are still in here denying 3 mineral patches from being mined, and that's just so much economy being hurt here. All the drones and the natural got cleaned up. He forced a sunken, forced more lings, and all Michael could do in return was get 1 drone.
Yeah, and these lings hurt so much too, because really the way you push your advantage with 12 pool or 12 hatch against a overgas build like this is by obviously getting your natural up and droning up using your larva advantage and getting your second gas, way ahead of the other Zerg. But Michael's just not going to be able to do that for quite a while now. He's finally building drones again. He's finally getting his Spire up in his natural. But yeah, like just making all those sunkens. Like, look at all of his gas right now. That's
Yeah, almost 1,000 gas. That is insane. It's going to be so long before he can work that gas off and actually make Mutalisk out of that.
Yeah, and Hawk has been able to just have free reign, do whatever he wants. He picked off a bunch of drones. He forced so much static defense, forced so many lings. So I think this is Hawk's
very
game now.
worried. Yeah, I think he's just going to be able to bust right here. This is so many Mutalisks. It's only 1 spore left. No way that 1 spore can hold this off, and then the whole main goes down here. And yeah, this is definitely going to be GG here. Hawk taking the first game with just a really convincing counterattack there.
Yeah, he played it almost perfectly, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, a little questionable by Michael just not running those lings immediately when the mutas popped.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if his attention was just split somewhere, or...
Yeah, if you don't, maybe he didn't notice in time, and then he just decided that he had to commit to the attack instead of running away. But I think definitely the incorrect decision there, and we should have seen him retreat there. Because as we saw, those things were super important for him being able to hold in the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talked about build order advantages and so on, but I mean, that was a perfect example too of how you can make up a disadvantage. Like, it's always hard when the meta player, like, generally there's going to be one player who has an economic advantage with like a 12 pool or 12 hatch, right? And then there's going to be one player who's on 1 hatch and just teching faster. So when the mutas get out, the player with the 2 bases is going to have to make a bunch of static defense, and they're not going to have perfect information like you do in the early game. So that's one way that, a ZVZ player can kind of make up the disadvantage by either powering harder on mutas or powering harder on lings than the other player would expect. It's just tough. I mean, it's by no means like just a gamble matchup or something where if you 100%. Have the wrong build, you can't come back.
I think that's 100% a misconception that a lot of people have, where they think, ZVZ is literally, 12 pool beats, 9 pool.
Yeah.
Pool beats 12 hatch, but it's definitely not like that. And there's hundreds of little things that you can do to, make a comeback in any Brood War match, to be honest. So
yeah, it's by no means like a rock, paper, scissors sort of thing. I think it's a really silly and superficial way to look at it.
Awesome. So we're going to be getting into the second game here. It's going to be on Eclipse. So I think the biggest thing here is there's obviously going to be no Overlord scouting advantage. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we can still see a couple different cheeky builds. I mean, in some tournament play in the last BSL and in our own RCR tournament, we've seen some proxy hatchery shenanigans. So who knows? But yeah, it looks like top right we'll have our magenta Zerg Michael, and bottom left we have our red Zerg Hawk.
So what are your predictions on the build orders this game?
Well, I think I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a proxy hatch. I think we actually saw Zero try to proxy hatch in base against Soma in the ASL. So I personally find weird, cheesy little ZVZ builds like that pretty entertaining. But I mean, we saw Michael just go for a straight up 12 pool last game, right? So maybe we'll just see him try to do something similar again.
Yeah, it's totally possible. I mean, I think it, like you said earlier in the cast, ZVZ is a matchup where it is definitely harder. I mean, there aren't as many, really good cheeses, I feel like, in this matchup compared to other matchups. It's just, it's harder to get a big advantage when you're playing the exact same race as the other person, because they can literally do the exact same thing you're doing.
Yeah, and it's so low econ. You're pretty much confined to Lings and Mutas, right? I mean, on very rare occasions, you see people get up to 2 or 3 bases and go like Hive or go Hydra ZVZ, but for the most part, that's just unrealistic. So you're kind of limited to either Ling all-ins or getting a tech advantage or getting an econ advantage.
Exactly, and on a 2-player map, it's even more difficult because unlike the other mirror matchups, scouting is impossible to deny in the early game ZVZ. So you can literally just have an overlord sitting over your opponent's base and seeing exactly what they're doing for most of the game.
Yeah, and so I actually kind of missed this build by Hawk. It's sort of a 12 pool, I guess, but he got his pool and gas slightly faster than usual, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So I feel like I heard a little bit about this recently on Discord, but I haven't really looked into it very much. I guess it's just a slightly safer variation of 12 pool that pretty much gets the tech and the expansion at similar times. Just sacrifices like 1 drone a little bit later. So yeah, very, very safe pick. Meanwhile, we see Michael going for just an overgas build, which is also very common on Eclipse. But yeah, so kind of mirror builds from last game. I'm kind of expecting Hawk to give us a little bit of an example of how to better deal with keeping the 12 pool advantage, but we'll have to see.
I think a big difference here is Hawk going for the layer much faster than Michael did already, where Michael went for speed last game first. Hawk not going for that speed there. Keeping his Lings back here at home, just to keep him safe here. Michael sending his Lings all the way around, so I think that's definitely a smart move, just in case Michael was going to slip some Lings into the main or something like that. And Hawk knows he can play defensively because he's got the economic advantage here. He just has to hold it. Yeah,
absolutely. Michael will have speed a little earlier, but I feel like Hawk should be totally fine with the Lings. Let's see. Yeah, this pressure is a little awkward to deal with right now, but I think Hawk will be okay. As long as he doesn't...
It looks like he's going to give up the hatchery, actually. I guess he was just too afraid of the amount of Lings there with speed. Could be a wise decision here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely... I mean, the economic advantage is gone, and now the tech advantage is also... well...
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to just give it up like that. But yeah...
Not that far behind in tech, but... he still doesn't have speed, and now he's got a lot of pressure at his front door here with all these speedlings.
Yeah, it's a really awkward position for Hawk. I'm kind of worried for him now, but yeah, if anyone can come back from this, it's Hawk for sure.
Yeah, doesn't seem completely hopeless, but he's definitely in a disadvantaged spot now after losing his hatchery for basically nothing. I'm surprised. I don't know. I thought he was going to try and take the fight. I'm surprised. I wonder what made him think that there was no hope of holding that based on there. He was only down like 2 Lings. I feel like reinforcing. He might have been able to hold. Now he's got to take this fight on his ramp, and this is looking a little bit scary here, but Michael actually losing a lot of Lings just running by. Maybe able to snipe a couple drones here. Already getting 1, and that's so big, ZVZ.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the correct choice for Michael, honestly. I mean, wow, okay. An extra drone.
Yeah, 2 drones there. Probably, not as bad as it could have been for Hawk, seeing as 5 Lings got into his base, but still pretty crippling when you're in such a low economy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to lose that second drone, honestly. Before the second drone, I was thinking, like, maybe it was okay, because now Hawk does have a pretty significant Ling advantage, but Yeah, it's really, really bad now. And Michael is
Losing
getting
an
this
Overlord
Overlord.
here.
Hawk is
Yeah.
searching for Overlords, but Michael is pretty good about sending them back in time. So yeah, this is really, really rough for Hawk. Losing that hatchery, losing those drones, and then also losing Overlords when you're on the same larva as your opponent is just really, really tough to come back from.
And I'm pretty sure Michael already had the Mutalisk advantage, so yeah. It's going to be pretty tough for Hawk to come back. This is going to be a tall order even for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the natural hatchery going down for Michael already. And yeah, Michael is just scouting with his lings, making sure there's no like hidden expansions or anything. Yeah, making sure there's no crazy variables that he didn't account for. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Hawk could try to do some kind of like, Muta Scourged Ling all in and just hope that he catches Michael off guard. But other than that, I'm not really sure what his options are here.
Yeah, I think that might be his best bet. Coming back economically in this one, it just seems like such a tall order. He doesn't have a natural building. He's behind so many drones too. I think 3 drones. And all he's been doing is making units. So I think really he should be hoping to catch Michael just droning, and maybe that would be his best shot there. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got even supply, which means that his army is a little bit stronger than Michael's even right now, but Michael's obviously going to have that defender's advantage, so...
Yeah. I mean, he needs to time it perfectly if he does decide to do an all-in, and it looks like he's just going now. But yeah, he just has to rally everything that's making from his hatcheries right now. I'm assuming maybe some Scourge. He did another trick to just get a little bit of a supply advantage. And yeah, he's just going in. He's 1 meter down, but he does have Scourge.
And if you can catch Michael here out of position, this could actually end up going really well for him.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael also has a Scourge advantage. And then, wow.
Hawk's micro, so clean there, getting every Scourge, I think. Michael running away, even though he still does have a muted advantage. He's scared. He doesn't realize that he has a muted advantage. And now Hawk gets 2 free volleys off on Michael's mutas there. With more Scourge coming in. And all of a sudden, Michael's mutas melt and Hawk just takes the game. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. That was so clean by Hawk. His micro out of control there, man.
I'm actually speechless because before the end, before Michael started running and Hawk got those free shots off, I thought for sure this was the end for Hawk. Like, holy shit, dude.
Hawk's micro was so fucking clean that Michael literally got scared of it and ran away and lost all his Mutalisk running away. That's how scary Hawk was right there, dude. That was the sickest shit I've ever seen.
That really is crazy. I'm kind of speechless after that. Because in my mind, I was thinking, like, this is 100% Michael's game. Like, he has the muted advantage, he has a Scourge advantage. Like, what the fuck is Hawk going to do? But then he just got nervous.
Yeah, I think he literally just got nervous playing against Hawk. And I mean, we pointed it out that, his supply was still even with Michael. So he still had that opportunity where, like his army could potentially break Michael's. But Michael had the Mutalisk advantage going into that fight, and he just threw away his advantage.
Yeah, wow. Just wow. I guess, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say to Michael about that one. Like, dude, if you watch this VOD, just please keep in mind, like, I don't know, just be confident in yourself, man. You totally had that game. But wow, really well played by Hawk. And it goes to show just the tournament experience that, really, really makes a difference. Just being calm and collected. Just holy shit. Wow, what a game.
100%. And that's a tough one to come back from for sure. So hopefully Michael can get his head back on his shoulders here and, remain calm. And you have to definitely, StarCraft is totally a game about confidence. If you don't think you can win, you're not going to be able to win in a game. I think any player that's competed in a tournament knows this. When you're going up against a player that you think is better than you, your chances of beating them go significantly down.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% I agree. I mean, Yeah.
So
dude.
hopefully Michael doesn't let that get in his head and think he's incapable of beating Hawks. We've already seen it. He can definitely beat Hawk. That game should have been Michael's. You know?
We see. I don't know, man. I think he is in Michael's head, though. I mean, Hawk mentioning on Battle.net that Hawk is going through my mind again. Like, he seems a little shook to me. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean both those games were definitely games where Michael feels like he has an advantage going into the mid game for both of them. I mean, not even the mid game for the last one. That felt like he had the game almost in the bag, you know.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Hawk comes back in both of them. That's definitely going to shake any player, you know.
Yeah, I mean, when you pool first and then are able to kill the hatchery from a 12 pool or a 12 hatch, like, just speaking from my own experience, like, you're feeling pretty good. And then to lose after gaining an advantage like that is really disheartening. But it looks like we'll be going on to our third game now on Sylphid. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised yet again. Like, I don't know, man. I thought Michael might go for 4-player maps to kind of like push his build order advantages, but instead he's just going for 2 and 3-player maps. How do you feel about this map?
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard ZVZ. I mean, it's just 3-player map, so once again, you can get the advantage of scouting first, but it's not as bad as in some maps, I think. But once again, actually, this time Hawk is, well, we have Michael spawning in the 12 o'clock position as the dark green Zerg, and Hawk spawning in the bottom right as the red Zerg, and Hawk this time actually getting the scouting advantage for once. So, yeah, not boding well for Michael on this final game here.
Yeah, the silver lining is that he is on the 12 o'clock position, so, I mean, it's well noted for being, like, by far the most mining efficient location. So, you know, he can get a little bit of a slight edge on his opening build. But yeah, other than that, everything else is looking great for Hawk right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Michael's been doing anything extremely out of the ordinary either. So he hasn't really been, you know, maybe that's why he hasn't been picking those 4-player maps. He's been playing pretty standard so far. So yeah, I expect just to see more standard play from him this game, and we'll see if it works out in his favor again. I mean, he's gotten an advantage the last 2 games, right? So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, not living up to his Cheese King name, you know? I was really hoping for some crazy cheeses to come out, but...
What do you think about this pool timing from Hawk right here?
Just a standard 9 pool. It's looking fine to me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, very, very standard play from both players.
Yeah, they're actually mirror builds right now. Both going for potentially 9 pool speed here.
Yeah, and despite the mining advantage, like I was saying, from 12 o'clock, it looks like Hawk is actually slightly faster with his buildings. Just, you know, a few minerals ahead, few drone trips, but
this is actually, yeah, definitely a big advantage for Hawk, though, because of when you're doing a mirror build and you have first scout, you know, you can just get such an advantage of knowing what your opponent's larvas are, knowing if you need to make more lings, if you can skimp and make a drone, you know.
Yeah, and he can also hide lings. You know, his first 6 lings, he can hide them and just keep them out on the map and keep, you know, Michael having to play defensively. Or if Michael does choose to send his lings straight to Hawk, then he can sneak those lings in, get a pretty significant advantage. We'll have to see how he handles the situation, though.
He gets the scouting here right now with his Overlord, so he's going to see the lings moving out.
Yeah, and it looks like Hawk is kind of going towards the middle of the map to just hide the lings a little bit. He's just going to rally the rest of his lings that are producing right now to his choke.
Okay, so this could definitely get a little crazy here.
Yeah, and we see Michael even sending his next set of lings. So yeah, this could be really, really hairy for Michael if he doesn't play it completely perfectly. He's going to have to bring some lings back.
I really don't hairy for both players here.
Yeah,
we have to see if Michael can bust through here. Needs to keep going for this bust here at the natural, or at the choke to the natural here, because if he doesn't get in and kill some drones, he's just going to die to this counterattack. Lings already in Michael's face up at 12 o'clock too. Not enough lings to defend, so he's just going to start losing drones here. He needs to pull his drones. He needs to react at both places. We can already see Hawk cleaning up the lings in his base, so
yeah,
it's looking absolutely awful for Michael here.
Yeah, he's still pressuring Michael. He's delaying mining. He's making Michael keep producing lings, and he has lings on the way. So really good play from Hawk. And it's looking increasingly bad for our
He might
newcomer
just have an
Michael.
overwhelming amount of
Yeah,
links here.
yeah.
Not a full block
Well,
here, so the links can get in. But Hawk not taking full advantage there.
Yeah, Hawk kind of jumped the gun a little bit there. If he had his lings more organized, he could have actually just ran by. But
Okay, so Michael actually being able to hold here.
yeah, this is a really tense situation. I mean, Hawk could have pressed his advantage even more by squeaking out a couple more drones, but it looks like both players have just kept producing all lings here.
Yeah, and Michael actually able to even the drone count here pretty significantly, and I think pretty even drone counts, almost exactly the same amount of drone counts here. So this could come down to a very tense meterless fight here, where both players have very weak economies.
Yeah, absolutely. Picking that one ling off was really nice. Just finding a weakness in Michael's ling wall where he could have a one-on-one fight with lings rather than a one-on-two.
This is scary. Hawk does have significantly more Zerglings here. This is going to be tough to make a full wall here, and Hawk just goes for it. I have a feeling he might be able to bust through.
Yeah, but, absolutely. He can actually run. Okay, he kind of missed the window a little bit, but I feel like he can still attack here.
Playing it very safe here, but he does just have such an overwhelming amount of links. Now more links spawning, so he might have missed the timing here. And Mutalists are about to pop soon. And look at how much money Michael has saved up. I think Hawk's Mutalists must be on the way now. They are.
Yeah. Well, we see three eggs for Hawk, right? So that signifies to me that it's 3 lings or three mutas rather. Whereas Hawk forced Michael to keep making lings. We see Michael using another sort of supply trick to just eke out another muta, but Hawk has the supply advantage. He has the Overlord advantage, and his mutas are out slightly faster, so he's going to be able to pick off a Overlord of Michael's here if he can find it.
Yeah, this is looking very, very bad for Michael here, but luckily missing that Overlord.
Wow!
If he misses both these Overlords and they can't be found,
that was so unlucky by Hawk. Oh my gosh!
What a gift! What a gift Michael was just given by not losing either.
Seriously.
But this one is going to go into the vision here, and there's nothing stopping Hawk from just coming back over and killing it there. But at least this gave Michael enough time to build a couple more Mutalists. He's going to have to build 2 Overlords here to get on supply block though, and that's going to be so rough on his economy when he's already behind.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean Hawk had an Overlord advantage even before this, right? So still way ahead in terms of like mirror builds. We see Michael trying to salvage a little bit from here, trying to be aggressive, but I don't think this is going to pay off for him.
No, this is a crazy attack. I think this is a desperate attack, and I don't think it's going to work. You can see melting away from Michael.
GG.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Hawk taking it 3-0, very convincing there.
Yeah, very decisive play by Hawk, decisive victory. Just
I'm impressed.
Absolutely dominating him. I mean, wow.
And Hawk showing why he's one of the best well-known NA players.
Yeah, absolutely. So Michael in chat actually asking what happened to my lings in game 1. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Michael is just a little nervous. Obvious misplay there, but we should have Hawk joining us for the winners interview any second now.
Awesome.
I gotta say I was expecting Hawk to win, but I wasn't expecting such a one-sided victory.
Yeah, he played really, really impressively this series, to be honest. You could even say I'm impressed.
Wow, dude. It's not every day I hear you say that. Welcome, Hawk. You're muted right now. Just feel free to unmute yourself whenever you're ready. Oh. Uh, Yo, what's up, Bach? First of all, congratulations for 3-0ing Michael and getting to the round of 4. Um, are-
I think I got it now. It just pushed to talk. I just set it up.
all right,
Thank you.
nice. How are you feeling after those games?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, yeah, went pretty well.
Pretty well is kind of the understatement of the year, right? I mean, that. I mean, I got to say, I was expecting you. I was telling you just before you joined the call, I was expecting you to win. I thought you were the favorite for sure, but I wasn't really expecting a 3-0 and such one-sided ZVZs. Did you practice a lot for this match?
I'd been playing a lot a while back, and you only need somewhat recent games to kind of keep your mechanics in check. I've been kind of always watching a lot, seen a lot of recent ZBZs. So yeah, I thought I was playing well.
Nice. So did you prepare these builds specifically, or were you just kind of winging it each game?
One build was prepared specifically. It did not turn out as well as I had hoped. It was actually the game 2 build. And the build Michael did was the one I was actually most worried about, where you 9-pool and you hide lings.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing it has going for it is just surprise factor. If they haven't seen it before, then it can catch them off guard. But if they just like drone up and take a second hatchery as an expand, it has a lot of trouble versus that, because they just kill your expansion and continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that build, if you don't mind? Because I think it's like a relatively new ZVZ build, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, I think it is new. It's an adaptation to 2-player maps where the rush distance is quite long. The idea is that you get a very fast spire and an expand, and have decent chances versus 9-pool, as you saw. You don't just like auto die. I don't think it's particularly strong if players have practice against it, but if you've never seen it before, it looks like a normal 12-pool and can cause a lot of problems because of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to watch some replays or VODs of that sometime soon. But yeah, the other games. I mean, well, first of all, I guess going back to the game 2. I mean, how are you feeling after you lost that hatchery? Because I mean, you have to be kind of like really feeling like it was a loss after that, right?
I was just focused on not losing any Zerglings. I knew if I could hold my ramp, then I at least have a chance. Especially if they make Scourge, then it comes down to like Mutas versus Scourge micro. The one thing that actually really threw me off, and I didn't know, was that he surrounded one of my eggs. I was building an Overlord, and he killed it, and I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, right. Yeah. It popped, but then just disappeared.
Yeah, I'd seen that before. I thought about canceling it, and I was like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, I don't know. Like that was actually the craziest game of the series for sure. I was actually like speechless after you won, because Michael had like a 1 or 2 muted advantage going to that last fight, and he had like 4 to 6 Scourge, I believe, and your only advantage was the Lings, but you completely out microed him, and then he got kind of scared and just started running, and you got free volleys off, and then the game just ended. Like I didn't even know what I was watching. Honestly, it was crazy.
I'm not sure if he had muta advantage. I think your mutas were probably equal. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe I just saw it wrong, but I swear I thought you had 10.
Okay, I don't know.
And he had 11. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, really well played. Do you have any questions, Just?
Yeah, just how confident were you when you were going into this matchup, Hawk?
I'm never that confident in ZVZ, especially. Um, that's a matchup I didn't want to play Michael in, just because he has a lot of experience. He's a really old school player, and ZVZ doesn't change all that much. You can just do like the Holy Trinity, and those are 9 pool, 12 pool, 12 hatch, and those will get you by no matter the decade or year that you're playing. The only thing going in was I just really tried to hit my build and make sure that everything was timed correctly and that I wasn't messing up on control. And I figured if I could do those two things, then if I lose, I lose. Just focus on those two.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. My other question is, and it's kind of like a two-parter. So right below you in the bracket, StRyKeR and BoA, they actually play next. Who do you think's going to win? Do you have a prediction there? And who would you rather play in the next round?
I would rather play StRyKeR, but I'm okay with BoA because I want to play him again since our show match, which he won. I think that's going to be an interesting match because both of their styles will lead to very long games, a lot of late game scenarios, which will be really cool to see.
Awesome. Yeah, man. That's it from me. I just want to say congratulations again, dude. You played sick today.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, congratulations again, and I can't wait to see you in the round of 4.
Sweet. Well, talk to you guys later. It was
Later.
always fun. Thanks.
It looks like we'll be taking a short 5-minute break here, and we'll get to the next game shortly.
See you guys soon.
それが夜明け前のものであるなら少しだけ微笑ましい。何一つ形のない人のいない海だとしても。
それが君の心のあり方なんだね。何もないことが君の形だった。
We'll be moving on to our second series here, StRyKeR versus BoA, in just a few minutes. So, how are you feeling about this matchup, Just?
This one I'm really excited for. I want to see if StRyKeR is able to withstand BoA's multitasking and micro, because a lot of the times I feel like that's where StRyKeR can fall apart. You know, he's that really powerful macro player, but some of the times in the smaller, multitasking departments, he can get out microed. So I want to see if he can actually withstand BoA's early game pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And StRyKeR is also kind of like the opposite of Michael. Like Michael constantly uses the ID Cheese King, right? But StRyKeR strikes me as like the ultimate, just like standard macro Zerg. Like he almost always does the most straight up like macro builds you can imagine. You know, always 3H Spire into 5H Hydra versus Forge Expand and so on. So yeah, he definitely wants to get into that mid and late game with a strong economy and just kind of play for the late game. But BoA, on the other hand, I mean, he's strong at every stage of the game, but his early game and mid game timings are just oppressive. Like he's just rolled almost every North American Zerg he's come across in like various events in the last 6 to 8 months. I think he was it 4-1 or 3-0 against StRyKeR himself in one of the Foul Play and A show matches. So yeah, StRyKeR has his work cut out for him. But I feel like I'm not 100% sure, but I do think StRyKeR has been kind of like mixing his play up a little bit and trying to go for more aggressive early builds. I feel like I've seen him try for like 3H Hydra a little bit here and there. So maybe he's trying to change his play style a little bit.
Definitely possible. And StRyKeR is a player that I think is been improving and is still improving. So I'm definitely curious to see where his play is at currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we'll be starting on Polypoid. Each player will have one veto, and then the losing player picks the map. Yeah, like I said earlier, like honestly, I mean, as a Zerg player, I would probably choose to ban Ring, Gloom, and Optimizer. But there's just so many ban-worthy maps. I absolutely hate playing ZVP on Eclipse. I'm not a huge fan of Shakuras Temple. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough.
Yeah. It's definitely tough. I don't know. None of these maps are like instant lose maps, I feel like. I would probably pick Optimizer if I was Zerg. Just because
Yeah.
extra gas is pretty definitely pretty rough, and they can take a safe third early too.
Yeah, it's always kind of sucky to play against a Protoss who just gets a free third. I mean, ZVP is always awkward when the Protoss is allowed to expand wherever they want, and then they can easily get above 2 gases. It just really makes life hard for Zerg. But yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, again, we see our American Zerg striker, 3-4 map record in Foul Play NA. He actually took down Gypsy in the very first Foul Play NA, which was a very impressive victory. But like you just mentioned, he actually got kind of crushed by BoA. I guess it was 3-0 actually by BoA. But yeah, I mean, he's been improving a ton. I think he just came back to Brood War in like 2018 or 2019 after 9 or 10 years of inactivity, like so many people, quitting after StarCraft 2 came out. But he's just been grinding ever since, and really, he started out just as like a high B rank Zerg, and now he's one of the best Zergs in North America. Routinely getting S rank on a ladder and so on. And he's been playing in a ton of tournaments, but I feel like he is still kind of like, he has that hurdle to get over where he needs to get past his tournament nerves. So I'm really looking forward to him just continuing to play in these events and hopefully, breaking that barrier.
And BoA definitely well known now. Came out of nowhere kind of, but clearly became one of the best NA Protoss players overnight. Just such a sick style. His micro is so good. He takes fights so well. Always impressive to see that. And yeah, just really cool, interesting builds that you don't see a lot of other NA Protosses going for.
Yeah, absolutely. BoA is just he's just a powerhouse. I feel like his micro and his decision making in fights really what sets him apart. He hits his timings just perfectly. And I don't know, man. He almost seems like supernatural when I'm watching him. Like, he'll go into a fight where I'm thinking this is looking pretty good for the Zerg or whatever. And it relatively even fight, but then he just rolls over people. Like it honestly makes no sense to me sometimes.
Yeah. Just a super strong player. I used to be the best Protoss in NA, and then he came around and I got eclipsed. It's real sad.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be... I think BoA is honestly the favorite going into this, but I really hope we see some good matches. StRyKeR is still a beast, so it could go either way. I'm looking forward to seeing the first map. And we will be starting game 1 in just a minute here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Do you have any thoughts on Polypoid for this?
I mean, I think this is pretty good for StRyKeR because it is a very standard map, and I think everyone has played like a million games at this point. It's kind of like the new modern fighting spirit. I think it's a good match. It's very balanced, I'll say. How do you feel about Polypoid?
Yeah, I think it's a really fun map. I think it's pretty balanced as well. I think we're going to be getting into the game here right now.
All right, and it looks like bottom left we have our Protoss BoA, and top left we have our Red Zerg StRyKeR. And one thing to note is that while almost all of our matches have been casted live, I think BoA actually was busy tonight, so we did have them pre-play, so we'll be casting from replays for the first time.
Yeah, we're very sorry about this. We hope our fans don't abandon us.
But yeah, I mean, plus side, we get to see the worker counts and everything, right?
Yeah, it's not all bad.
Man, I wish the observer UI was just a little bit better. I mean, come on, why worker counts for replays but not for live cams? Come on. Anyway,
That's the biggest problem we have to deal with. And
yeah, I mean,
about it.
you know, everything else in the Brew War scene is just going absolutely amazing. I mean, really couldn't ask for anything else except for that. I mean, you know, Blizz is just such a wonderful company.
Good.
Anyway,
Looks
we
like
see.
we're gonna have a gate expand here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of us really expected anything else, right? I mean, I feel like BoA almost always starts with gate expand, and his zealot micro and, you know, early aggression is just so intimidating.
Yeah, he's got great Zealot micro, very clean. Always seems to get some kind of damage done with it, so, you know. And I was already talking earlier, you know, questioning StRyKeR's early game, so we're going to have to see if he can prove me wrong here and, you know, handle this really cleanly. I think he went for an overpull here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was overpull.
Okay, so, you know, this is pretty standard. Classic opener for both races here. So it's really up to BoA if he wants to send over that first Zealot. And I'm curious to see how many lane StRyKeR's going to make right at the start here. If he wants to make 6, or if he just wants to try to get by with 4.
Yeah, and BoA is doing a pretty good job of delaying this natural hatchery from StRyKeR, but he has taken quite a bit of damage now, so I'm guessing StRyKeR will be able to get that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Amazing.
450 minerals. Wow. Getting his minerals up to 500, but he does lose the probe, so, you know, a little bit of a silver lining there for StRyKeR. And the first Zealot is going to have to go home here. Hopefully it doesn't get caught here, but these lings are pretty close by. I think it will be able to get back to the safety of the second Zealot, though, and that'll send StRyKeR home.
Yeah, it does hurt losing that first probe, right? When you know, it kind of hinders your, you know, aggressive potential a little bit. But I mean, I think it was well worth it delaying the hatchery that much.
It probably was, but definitely don't want to understate just how scary it is as Protoss to be in the dark early game. You literally can't tell what the Zerg is doing at all from here. So for all you know, you could be going for a Ling all-in behind this, and you have no scouting information to know. So you're playing entirely in the dark here, and that's definitely scary. The economic advantage is nice, but losing that probe can definitely cost you games, you know? Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, like you were saying earlier, you know, StRyKeR at times has kind of succumbed to the early pressure a little bit, but it looks like he's handling it totally fine. He didn't take any damage from the gate FE, you know, as far as the Zealots are concerned. The, you know, delayed hatchery at your natural does kind of suck, but it's not the end of the world as Zerg. It looks like all of his tech is going to be perfectly on time. Is he going lair first, or is he going speed first?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, it looks like he's just going speed first. But yeah, so he's
finishing here at a pretty good time.
Yeah,
Gas and the Protoss done. So.
Yeah. So it's going to be a very standard game from both players. We're going to see StRyKeR just. Okay, so he's actually going for 3 hatch Hydra. I was going to say he's likely going to go up to 5 hatcheries, but this is another pretty standard response to gate FE. He's going to get the link speed first to deal with these Zealots, and he should clean them up pretty easily. And then BoA will not have any way to scout unless he is able to slip one Zealot into the main. But I find that pretty unlikely to happen.
This is quite a few Zealots here, but that is a lot of links. So yeah, I think he should be able to clean this up, especially when speed finishes here.
Yeah. And so BoA sees the speed. So, you know, he has no way of knowing if it's like a 3 hatch Hydra, because that is a tell sometimes if they skip link speed. But I don't know. I think this is actually looking pretty good for StRyKeR, unless
the Zealot micro is so insane that he's actually able to win this fight.
Yeah, I wasn't.
So now he's going to get in. I mean, he does see a drone pop still, so BoA still not seeing StRyKeR, like, really any indication that StRyKeR would be going for Hydras behind this, so I think he might still be caught off guard by this, to be honest.
Oh my god, but he hit that Zealot, the StRyKeR didn't notice, and it's going to get into the main.
Yeah, now this is definitely going to reveal everything, and that's going to be all the information that BoA needs.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. This can still do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not ideal, right? I mean, it always kind of hurts a Zerg to realize that you missed a Zealot or a probe out on the map, and they can figure out exactly what you're doing.
I can tell you, as a Protoss, it feels wonderful when you see the Hydra Den. You instantly know what you have to do to respond, and if you just do that, you're already ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm sure BoA feels very good about his position here. He can basically do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to go into Stargate now because he knows Hydralisks are coming. So he can get away with just going with a ton of gateways and getting out, a ton of speed lots.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's going to keep the Stargate, though, and probably just make, like, one Corsair, right? Just to see... Because it is important to be able to scout and see
100%.
how many Hydras the Zerg is actually making. But,
I'm going to be curious to see if you can get that +1 done in time, and then, no, it's not even going to be close.
yeah.
So he's going to have to give that up. But not the end of the world, to be honest. Especially because you get a really good economic advantage here. You can just already see how few drones StRyKeR has on all his bases. Just now, getting a 4th hatchery down even. Meanwhile, BoA back at home has gateways going down. He's got a really strong economy, and it's only going to be a matter of time before he can bust out of here. And StRyKER's really going to need to, work quick to catch up economically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's on a pretty healthy number of drones right now. 28 drones, very good. It looks like he's just going to transition into a normal macro game now. Yeah, I don't know. He got a decent amount of damage. He killed that pylon even. I mean, BoA's cannons were a little kind of... I mean, I don't know. I guess they were placed as well as they could be, but yeah. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about StRyKER's position here.
We'll have to see. BoA definitely going up to, spiking up to quite a lot of minerals there. He was supply blocked, so that's definitely going to hurt. And that might make his timing, weak enough for StRyKER to be able to hold here, but he is getting supply blocked himself because of these Corsairs, and I'm a little worried that BoA is just going to be able to overwhelm him here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it always really hurts to lose Corsairs. I mean, to lose Overlords to Corsairs, rather. But yeah, BoA is kind of playing a little uncharacteristically sloppy. I feel like his gateways are a little slower than I would have liked. And he's still supply blocked here.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit worried about this timing that he might be able to hit here. I'm not sure if StRyKER's Hydra count is that strong quite yet. So this could be a little bit dicey for him. We'll have to see. BoA keeping his Zealots at home even though speed's done, so I guess he doesn't feel confident moving quite out quite yet, but StRyKER doesn't have that many Hydralisks quite.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that is a lot of Zealots, but Storm just finished, so I don't know.
Picking off another Overlord for free, this is going to supply block StRyKER at a critical time here, so that's definitely not going to be good for him holding, and he's making drones behind this. I mean, this could get a little dicey here for StRyKER.
Yeah, his 3rd is very vulnerable right now, but it looks like he's kind of angling towards the natural right now.
And BoA not being super aggressive either here. He's actually playing pretty passive, just trying to put on some pressure, so not too much going to happen here. It looks like BoA's going to go home here, and like you said, Storm is done, so it's not like that attack... It's not like either of them really needed to get damage done there or anything like that, so BoA just going to, go back home and solidify his forces.
I mean, yeah, BoA, I think, correctly realized that he didn't have much potential for doing anything without Storm. I kind of wish StRyKER was a little more proactive with these Hydras, but I don't think there's any way he could have known that BoA's Storm was so late. So he's just kind of respecting BoA a little too much. I feel like he has a window where he could have attacked, but yeah, just as usual.
BoA has a ton of Zealots. I'm not sure StRyKER had any window there. I'm actually, this is still so many Zealots that if these weren't lurkers being made right here, I'd actually be a little bit worried about StRyKER, but with all these lurkers popping, he's obviously going to have to back off here. Surprised no 3rd base going up for BoA, because I feel like he could get away with it right now, with how passive StRyKER's being.
Yeah, I mean, well, talk about 3rd bases. I'm surprised StRyKER is just now taking his 4th, but I mean, that is definitely the safe play to wait until lurkers are out.
Yeah. definitely the safe play there. Do you think StRyKeR's being too safe this game, or?
I mean, given the information that he has, I think it's definitely the right decision. Like, hindsight is 2020, and when you're watching as a caster, obviously you have full information, but the players don't. So yeah, I think StRyKeR is definitely making the correct decisions here. I'm wondering what this lurker is doing in the middle of the map, though. Did he just? I guess he must have misclicked and just forgot about it. I don't know if he was planning on sending that to, BoA's mineral only to delay it a little bit or what. But yeah, that really sucks losing a lurker early like that.
Yeah. Good hold here, though. These two lurkers should send all these zealots packing. Ain't no way they're sticking around for this. They don't want none of this pain train.
Yeah, I mean, I was having flashbacks to my own ZVPs for a minute there, thinking like somehow, those zealots are just going to like run in and right click the hatchery and still kill it, despite the two lurkers just hitting them for like 10 minutes. But yeah, luckily BoA respects StRyKeR too much for that.
I mean, more than a little surprised, I'm actually very surprised that BoA is just now moving out to take his third base. It's like 12 minutes into the game, he's been just building up this big zealot army, so he's really just going for strong timing here, and his third base is more of a fallback at this point. If this timing doesn't get some damage done, he could be in a really tough position going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, wow, okay, we actually see, as this attack is happening, it looks like there was a drop in the main, actually. Just zealots, so okay. Yeah, just zealots. A high Templar drop. He's actually sandwiching this army while he's forcing the multitasking from StRyKeR. But yeah, okay, so he's just going to go for it. Yeah, I think StRyKER's in trouble right now. I think StRyKER might just die. He has barely any army at home.
This looks like an overwhelming amount of units going for the third base right now. Lots of goons, 1-1 on his army, so I'm not even sure what StRyKER's upgrades are, but the 1-1 is going to make BoA have a lot more staying power, only +1, +2, getting pretty close to finishing. If you can get that +2 in, that would definitely help with his chances of holding here, but this is a big army. Lots of high Templars, lots of goons, so this is looking very scary for StRyKER here.
And it looks like there's actually a lurker drop at BoA's natural, so this is actually kind of an all-in almost from BoA, I think.
Yeah, and he might even lose that third base. There is a big group of Hydralisks there ready to counterattack there as well. But falls right into the natural.
Yeah, it looks like the all-in is going to work. When Protoss gets their entire army into the Zerg natural like that, it's pretty bad news. It's extremely hard to clear all of that. It looks like BoA's economy is just getting ravaged right now, but I'm not sure that StRyKER can even do anything.
He does, yeah. I mean, this is pretty brutal for sure. I mean, if he can hold here, the bad thing about when you shove your army right into the natural is your army splits up a lot. So sometimes some of it will get killed while the rest of it is doing something else. But you can control it well. Obviously, you're just right on top of the reinforcements, so you're doing huge damage. Right now, you can see the goons are getting targeted without the zealots tanking for them. Coming back now, no storms coming down here. Finally bringing in the shuttle to drop some storms, and those are some pretty big storms right there. That's going to clean out all the reinforcements there from StRyKER. So yeah, this is definitely looking pretty brutal. I think we're going to see GG here any second.
Yeah,
I really like the counter attack with the lurker drop, but yeah, not enough here in this situation.
It really, really hurts the Zerg in this position when you're kind of playing your heart out. You're getting a lot of economic damage, but you just don't have the right defenses in the right place, and then Protoss is able to just barrel in and get a demanding position, a really great position where they just you just can't actually clean up their entire army. It's really, really hard to deal with this Zerg.
Yeah, definitely very difficult when they just ram it right in there and you just deep into your forces.
Really, really disgusting to watch.
Well, no, I think it's actually very pleasing to watch.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the perspective. Anyway, that was a pretty good game. So I definitely, like we were saying, StRyKER dealt with the early game very well, and he put up a good fight. So I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable about how this whole series is going to end up. What about you?
Yeah, he put up a pretty good fight. I don't know. Was he ever in a position where he was really ahead in that game, though? I'm not quite sure he was.
I don't know. I actually think BoA's early game was looking a little shaky there. He got his Templar Archives finished at like 9 minutes, so his storm was extremely late. I still feel like there was a window where StRyKeR potentially could have actually just killed him with Hydras, but I don't know, man. It's hard to say.
Show you. Just goes to show you. Protoss got it easy, man.
Yeah, it is definitely the easiest race. I think we can all agree on that. Looks like we'll be going into our game 2 on Ringing Bloom. Surprising.
Yeah, this means this was a StRyKeR pick.
Yeah,
So
and
definitely surprising.
looks like BoA in the top right, and StRyKeR or White Zerg in the top left. I'm really curious what StRyKeR has up his sleeve for Ringing Bloom, because I mean, personally, I hate playing it on this as Zerg, and then, you know, what used to be the mineral only is now just a regular gas base. That's very easy for Protoss to take, so I feel like it's very hard to stop Protoss from getting it on 3 gases and just getting a very healthy economy.
These positions also look like a nightmare to play against, especially against BoA, because he's so good with just speed shuttle drops and being all over the map all the time, you know. And your natural is facing his base, so he's going to have an even easier access to it. So, yeah, I'm curious why StRyKeR picked this, and I think we see StRyKeR picked this.
Okay, man, I'm looking forward to this already. This is the last thing that I would have expected from StRyKeR, but it looks like he's going for a very early pool, and I believe we're going to see a double sunken rush.
So I'm curious to see what BoA is going to open with here. Definitely going to be a gateway, okay. So this is going to come down to a micro fight. Let's see if BoA gets first scout here.
Yeah,
Looks like he's going in the wrong direction, so this is definitely going to be a big advantage for StRyKeR here with this first scout, and BoA scouting in the wrong direction here. So the stars might be aligning for something miraculous to happen here, Keen.
dude, I'm absolutely giddy right now. This is amazing. I actually love doing this build on ladder. I do an even more all-in version of it, but this is just perfect. I mean, all Protoss go gate FE on this map, right? And this is the reason. You actually can't go Forge FE, because if you do, you'll almost always lose this kind of sunken rush. But it's still really hard to stop. Like, Protoss has to play it, they have to micro perfectly. They have to pull a ton of probes to defend this. And I think it's not looking great for BoA, honestly. He's scouting StRyKeR last, so he has no idea what's going on.
He sends out that probe because he's a little bit scared, but StRyKeR being so smart, he hit his drones until the last second here. So it's only now that the drones are showing up, and he's going to be able to get both these Sunkens down without the Zealot being able to stop it. The Zerglings are going to be able to stop the Zealot from getting back up the ramp. You can see the probes already getting pulled, which is definitely necessary if he wants any chance of holding this. But that other creep colony is already so far along, the Zealot still can't get up the ramp.
Yeah, and I don't think he pulled enough probes. I think he needs to pull all of his probes right now.
No, lots of damage being done to the Zerglings there because he ran past. But the Sunkens are already started here, so all he needs to do is buy enough time for the Sunkens. And look at the bottom Sunken, there's barely anything even attacking it. All the Zerglings dead though, that is a lot of Zerglings to be dead. And I think he might be able to hold here. One Zealot goes down. If that top Sunken doesn't go down here from the Zealot, and it doesn't, the Sunken stays up. He needs to pull more. He's pulling more probes to try and kill it. That Zealot's taking so much damage from the Sunken, but he is going to get the Sunken here with his probes. It looks like it's down to 7 HP. He needs to target down the Sunken. He isn't targeting it down. Finally, he can't target it down with the probes. He finally gets it, but he lost so many probes. Zerglings are just going to keep coming here, and yeah, definitely going to be a win here for StRyKeR. So, what a decisive game here.
That was absolutely crazy. I actually thought... I thought he was going to kill the Sunkens a little faster, and
yeah, it's very tough to target it because, you know, it's underneath that, you know, override.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ling's still streaming in here, so yeah, there's no way BoA is going to be able to come back. Okay, one Zelt's out. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, but he's not even mining at this point. Can't build another probe, down to Yeah, this is over. Definitely really well played by StRyKeR. Yeah, I don't know. That was a sick. He managed to just having the presence of mind to hold off his drones from scouting, and then only sending them in after seeing the probe coming back with his overlord was just so smart. Such like on your feet thinking. So really impressed by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's realistically it's still pretty overright, but I mean, BoA is microing his heart out right now.
Yeah, he definitely
is making another second. So it's just
unfortunately
kind of
he's down to
pouring
3
salt in the wound.
probes,
Yeah.
and even though StRyKeR only has 5 drones, I don't think there is any chance that BoA can ever come back in this game, and the sunken finishes. So yeah, I think he's going to GG any second here, and there it is.
Dude, that was the last build I would have ever expected from StRyKeR, but I feel like BoA should have maybe sent out 2 pro scouts. You got to be thinking.
He did send out that second probe, and he just sent it out to. Probably should have sent it all the way across, but
yeah. I don't know, man. Wow, I'm so happy to see StRyKeR pull something like that out there. That's absolutely awesome.
All the better that it worked too, because it's just so exciting when ballsy plays like that end up paying off.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I feel like as Protoss, you should be kind of expecting something like that if Zerg actually picks that map against you. But yeah, I mean, really sick play by StRyKeR and really clutch game.
Yeah, but it definitely goes against. It's not something you would expect from StRyKeR, so very smart tournament play for sure.
Yeah, like I said, as he gets more and more tournament experience, I hope that he does turn into the god that he deserves to be. I mean, just overcoming those nerves and then kind of switching it up and just doing some balls to the wall aggressive plays every once in a while just to keep people guessing. I feel like that's what you need to do as Zerg in tournaments.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Anyway, it looks like we'll be getting into our game 3 on Eclipse. Just a moment.
So how do you feel about this, Keen? Who do you think is going to take this map?
Well, first of all, we see BoA in top right. We see StRyKeR in bottom left. But I mean, BoA picked this map, right? And I think for good reason. I think on spawn matches in the last 3, 4, 5 months or so, Zerg has a 42% win rate on Eclipse in ZVP, and that's in their supposedly advantaged matchup, right? So I feel like StRyKeR is definitely the underdog here. It's very hard to play on this map in ZVP, in my opinion. There's just a lot of different pathways that Protoss can take to attack your 3rd and your 4th expansions or your natural. Yeah, it's just a tough map for Zerg. And then inevitably, if it goes into late game, it's going to be very hard for Zerg to keep an expansion advantage. Yeah, it's just hard to play. How do you feel about Eclipse?
Yeah, definitely feels like a good map for Protoss. Lots of easy bases to take. If you can take top left, you're going to win the game too. So you can deny the rest of it pretty easily. Looks like we're going to see a gate expand here again by BoA. Not surprising. Great map for gate expand.
Yeah, absolutely. Relatively, I mean, it's not the longest rush distance, but it's not not by any means bad for gate FE.
But like you said earlier, tons of different avenues. So your Zealot can get all the way across the map into the 3rd base completely unscouted. Get damaged on that way. So yeah, just super strong map. I like BoA's scouting pattern here. This would be StRyKeR was trying to be sneaky, he'd be sending lanes down this way potentially with a 5 pool. So you would run into him this way, but as we can see, StRyKeR playing standard, just going for that over pool, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think it pays off just to increase the just not let the Overlord see your probe, so you don't know if they're going proxy or something. Just increases the uncertainty a little bit.
Yeah, that's very smart, Kane. You're actually right about that too.
I mean, we see StRyKeR actually scouting with a drone here, and that's not super common on 2-player maps and on Eclipse, in general. So yeah, obviously he just wasn't sure.
Do you think he's going to try to get fancy and poke that Zealot?
Nah, looks like he's just going to leave it be. I
You
was.
answered after the drone had already walked away, so it's not that impressive.
I mean, to be fair, you asked it after it was already running away, so
Yeah,
I did the best I could. All right, man. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of Zerglings chasing a probe here. That's pretty exciting. That probe dancing fairly well, not taking any damage yet. Third base going down, and the natural going down before the forge there. So everything pretty standard here. No player really getting a big advantage, in my opinion. Just very, very standard play.
Yeah. StRyKeR, just as usual, he's not being super aggressive with his lings right away. He is continuing. I think he went up to 8 lings total, but he's not trying to push, to get like extra damage on the gateway or anything. So most likely he's just going to start making drones now, block his ramp, and maybe we can see another 3-hatch. Who knows?
Yeah, looks like I think speed just finished, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he just started.
I am mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, he just started lighting gas. So far we've seen StRyKeR go for speed first builds though, right? Before going Hydra or getting a lair. So, and it looks like we'll see the same thing again. He's going to stop mining gas for now, and he is keeping 1 drone on gas right now. So we'll have to see, like, if it's just going to be a repeat of game 1, which I do believe it will be, but we'll have to see. If not, what I'm guessing is StRyKeR will just go up to 5 hatcheries and then get 2 more drones on gas and start attacking into, Hydra Den, Evo Chamber, Lair, and so on.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side of the map, BoA looks like he's going for the standard. He's got his core going down. He's getting gas. Probably going to see a Stargate pop here any second. Going to be wondering when he sends out these early Zealots to see if he puts on any kind of pressure on StRyKeR here. But StRyKeR going for the Hydraless Den again.
Yep. So 3-hatch Hydra again. I'm assuming this is just something that he's been practicing a lot lately. So it's good to see him going with his bread and butter. Like I said in game 1, this is a very standard response to GFE. I know a lot of players kind of think like 3-hatch Hydra is kind of a cheesy build, but it's actually, one of the most standard openers of all in ZVP now. By no means is it all in.
Yeah, definitely a build you can easily transition out of to a more economic game. Just really good early pressure that you can apply. So, and we can see he's even taking a little bit more of an economic route too here. He's got a couple extra drones, which is nice.
Yeah, an 8th drone already. He's just going to get his 4th hatch up already. Probably just make like 5 to 7 Hydras, I'm guessing. Just try to pelt down that wall a little bit.
You still do have to be a little bit careful because this is a lot of Zealots. So
yeah, absolutely. And I'm not even sure if he's going to be able to snipe the Forge this game because, BoA, last game he had 1 gap in between the Forge and the cannon, but I feel like that cannon should be able to defend. So if StRyKeR doesn't actually make enough Hydras here, I'm not even sure he'll be able to get the Forge.
Like the timing on that second cannon there, just really smart play by BoA. He wasn't able to get any scouting this game, so putting down that second cannon early just to make sure he doesn't die. Needs to be careful he doesn't lose his Corsair here. Using these Zealots so he can peek out and try to snipe that Overlord. Really smart play. Already cleaning up all the Zerglings. The Zealots are definitely going to die here. They can't hold this, but if you can get the Overlord, then it's totally worth it.
Yeah, and it's actually hard. It's really hard to micro the Hydras. I mean, the Hydra should be able to clean this up, but using that extra Overlord as well while you're trying to keep each Hydra from taking too much damage is extremely difficult.
And this is what we talk about when we say BoA has super clean early game plays like this. Just using his Zealots to micro against the Hydraless so he can kill 1 Overlord and still having the presence of mind to micro a second Corsair, or to rally a second Corsair out to snipe another Overlord while microing his Zealots, just playing super clean. His micro is always so pleasant to watch.
And it's such a commanding victory in that fight. He didn't even have to make a 4th cannon. Now he killed both the Overlords, so this DT is going to shut down anything that StRyKeR can do right now. He's not even going to be able to get the gateway. I mean, as I said earlier, this is by no means an all-in build, but if you don't get any damage at all, and Protoss is just able to be greedy and not even go up to 4 cannons. I mean, that's really, really bad for the 3H Hydra player.
Yeah, you can see we have High Templars already out. Remember, game 1, we had 9-minute, High Templars, and BoA is still able to overwhelm StRyKeR. This game it's already out at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So BoA just in a much better position than he was, and looking like he's got a nice lead going into the middle game.
Yeah, absolutely. Very precarious position for a Zerg player, and I'm not feeling great about this right now, honestly. BoA's obviously warmed up, like you said. Maybe he was just a little, nervous in game 1 or something. But God, yeah, I can't reiterate just how bad of a feeling it is from the Zerg perspective if you go 3H Hydra and you get absolutely nothing done.
Yeah, it's reflected in supply. He's down in supply pretty significantly for this stage in the game. Doesn't have, Spire or anything like that. Losing Overlord still, which is pretty crippling for his economy right now.
And it's not like BoA even committed to making a lot of Corsairs. Like, he's only on 2 Corsairs right now and still getting kills like that. It really, really hurts. And, StRyKeR doesn't even have Overlord speed done yet. His upgrades are going to be later than you would usually want. So, he's not going to have like a clear +2 Hydra timing to be hitting BoA.
On a crazy amount of probes. His economy is out of control. This is looking super scary. Even this timing right here looks, like it's going to be able to end the game here. This is a lot of Zealots going across the map. If these High Templar can get across unharassed, which right now, StRyKeR has no idea this is even moving out. So, it's looking like they're going to be able to get across the map. This just looks like it's going to be game-ending here.
I mean, there's no way he could have picked those High Templar out because he had to cede map control immediately when the DT got out uncontested.
Yeah.
So,
definitely in a tough position here.
So he's just going to be sitting behind his walls, and BoA is going to be able to just plant those storms. I don't know. I don't know what... Like, StRyKER is going to have meticulous micro to be able to defend this.
Yeah, you can see... He has the Spire up, so maybe his intentions were to get Mutalisk here, but definitely not going to be in time. And look at these storms already doing huge amounts of damage. I mean, to be fair, it's pretty impossible to micro against this when you're stuck inside your natural. So, but yeah, this is definitely over right here. Already too much damage done. This is by no means all in by BoA, and it's doing crippling damage.
Yeah, I mean, adding insult to injury, like he even stormed a bunch of Overlords. And he almost implied block StRyKER, except for the fact that StRyKER is just getting so mauled by this that he's, does have some supply, but
there's the Mutalisk now, just popping. Like I said, not in time, unfortunately. Those Mutalisks had been maybe, 30 seconds faster. He might be able to get him over to the High Templar in time, but, that's the game of Brood War. Sometimes it's seconds that matter.
Yeah, GG. Pretty much perfect play by BoA, honestly.
Yeah, that game was really, really impressive. It kind of reminded me of that Hawk game too, where one player's micro just outshined the other player's micro so convincingly.
Yeah, I personally would be, feeling pretty bad going into the game 4 after that. I don't know. We'll have to see if he wants to try the 3H Hydra again, but I don't know. I kind of hope that he switches it up a little bit, because maybe that's just not the play against BoA. He seems to have pretty tight response to it.
Yeah, what would you do instead?
I mean, honestly, I suppose you could do a more all-in 3H Hydra, which might be a better play if, like on the Eclipse map, BoA wasn't able to get very, very good scouting, right? So if StRyKER maybe skipped link speed and didn't make quite as many drones and just went straight up 3H Hydra all in, he might have been able to catch BoA off guard there. But then, there's also he hasn't been taking very much damage from these Zealots early game, so I feel like he could honestly maybe just squeak in Lair first and just go for a regular 3H Spire into 5H Hydra game, honestly. But I mean, BoA hasn't been like playing recklessly by any means either, so it's not like he's been at a disadvantage. The early games have just been even, so maybe that'd be a little too risky. Anyway, it looks like game 4 will be on Shakura's Temple.
There's something to be said about not being able to take a game off your opponent in a, normal game. So far, StRyKER's only been able to take the one game, by cheesing, and that can definitely get in your mind. If you just don't think you're good enough to beat your opponent straight up. So we might see another cheese build here.
I mean, if StRyKER isn't feeling confident, I wouldn't put it past him, but I'm not really sure that that this is the map that we would see that on. Although it is a little bit of an oddball pick. Of the remaining maps, I feel like I would have tried Benzene or maybe Sulfid. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what map BoA ended up vetoing, but yeah, StRyKER wouldn't be my first choice.
Why not?
Just for the same reasons I don't like Eclipse. Pretty much, I don't like StRyKER. There's a lot of different routes that the Protoss can go pressure the Zerg from, and the rush distances are very short. It's just a tough map to play on, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I mean, we forgot to shout out the players here. So Magenta, Zerg, StRyKER in the bottom left, and BoA at the top right. StRyKER will scout BoA first, so looks like it'll be Gate Fee again, and StRyKER will be able to see that quite early. So decent for him.
Nice. So pretty similar builds to what we've seen these other two openings. We'll have to see if either player decides to change up anything major. Probably pretty unlikely though.
Yeah, just another overpool for StRyKER. Every game so far, except for game 2, of course, has been overpool. He hasn't even been switching in any 11 hatchery builds. Just absolute most standard openings, safest openings.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with 11 pool, but definitely in a tournament, it's always good to switch up your openings at least a little bit.
Yeah, and 11 hatch is designed to, be specifically like a sort of counter to Gate Fee, right?
Yeah, it's very strong against it.
Slightly faster than 12 hatch, so you should have your lings around when the Zealot would be entering your base. StRyKER doesn't want any of BoA's pro-harass this game though. Having flashback to game 1, he just sends immediately his drone to take his third.
This can get a little dicey though, because now we have this far hatchery that you have to defend with Zealots out on the map. It can be a little bit scary at times.
Yeah, for sure.
But looks like BoA's playing it safe, keeping his Zealot at home for now, so probably not going to be pushing too hard, at least at first. But maybe he might just build up a couple more Zealots before moving out. Right now, I think he's more concerned about the Zerglings that are reaching his natural right now. This is always a scary moment for Protoss as they start poking down your gateway. You don't want to get that one Zealot surrounded. You also want to block your ramp so the Zerglings can't get in and harass your economy. We can see that he's doing that pretty well. And when the second Zealot gets out, it's a lot less scary because now you have, enough power here to be able to fight off the Zerglings and to scare them off. BoA's still going to go with that Forge first. This makes him even safer because now he has no gaps in his wall and he can just keep those 3 Zealots and the Zerglings can't get in.
Yeah, very pretty much a perfect wall. So we can tell BoA's done his homework. Some players have kind of struggled with StRyKER because it's a little strange to wall on, but clearly BoA has prepared well. StRyKER's finally mining gas again. I kind of hope he switches things up, but who knows? We'll have to see.
Going down, so BoA definitely playing safe. Getting that cannon super quick here. Not going to fall for any kind of early game shenanigans if StRyKER was going for a lot of Zerglings behind this or anything like that. Gas finishing up. Still no core yet, so his core is going to go down probably right around 415, so pretty standard for what we've been seeing with BoA thus far this series. And yeah, once again, the game looks pretty similar to what we've seen from all their other games. An Evolution Chamber going down very early here, though.
That is interesting. I was thinking it was just going to be another 3-hatch, but
do you think this could potentially be a misclick, or? I mean, that would be really weird if it was. I don't just want for fast carapace.
That would be my only guess. I mean, there's no other reason he would get an Evo that quickly.
You see a lot of lings being made here too, but this could obviously just be for
Yeah,
fast
fast
carapace.
carapace.
So
Wow,
no,
this is
no
really
mistake here. Really cool build here out of StRyKeR here, and this is with his tournament life on the line. So it takes some balls to do these builds that are not standard when you're risking everything.
I'm curious now because he's making so many lings. I'm guessing he's just okay. So he's probably just waiting for the 5-6 zealot timing that BoA has shown that he likes. BoA already putting down a second cannon here, so it is looking like he's going to be aiming to move out with these zealots just to poke around and see what he can do. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Honestly, I mean, what does the fast carapace indicate to you?
Well, carapace obviously is not. I don't think StRyKeR is probably going for any kind of all-in because there's no reason to go for the carapace unless you're gonna make use of it. So I think this can be a really strong build when you go for a lot of lings and your zealots are just so much weaker. And we know BoA loves going for tons of zealots. He always has armies of zealots. He doesn't go for that goon-heavy style that was really popular a while ago. He's much more of the modern style of tons and tons of zealots. And if his zealots aren't hitting as hard because that carapace is right on time with the +1, then this can definitely work for StRyKeR. But it can be, it can be tough. You don't really see this that frequently in pro play because I think it's a hard style to play. So to be honest,
yeah. And do you think? Because what it kind of indicated to me was maybe StRyKeR was going to go for the fast hive and just have like upgraded cracklings and just go mass ling, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking as well. But
I think I almost only ever see that kind of play when like pro gamers are kind of trolling lower level ladder players. Honestly, I'm really interested to see how this game plays out.
Yeah, I think there is definitely at lower levels you can definitely get away with way less optimal builds than you can at higher levels. So by no means do I think this build can't work, but I'm curious to see how StRyKeR is going to play it, just because I don't, often see it get played, even at this level, against other opponents of this level.
As Tim is pointing out, though, the carapace is going to finish slightly before the +1, so it could also just be like maybe just a hard counter for this particular +1 timing, like this 8 to 9 minute timing where BoA just wants to just completely like stomp the Zerg. So yeah, we see StRyKeR even going up to as Tim was also pointing out, this is kind of BoA's cutting probes, only staying on 34 probes. So this might actually be like the perfect response to this kind of timing that BoA is aiming for.
It is a lot of zealots, and StRyKeR is getting supply blocked. Obviously that carapace is good. It's definitely going to make these Zerglings way stronger against the zealots and make this fight way more capable of holding for StRyKeR, but it's not that many lings, and this is so many zealots, and there's only one sunken. I think he might still just get busted here, and he's not like blocking his base at all. These Zerglings are going to the wrong spot. These zealots are just going to be shoving right into the national here. I think if BoA just goes for it, he can definitely bust.
Well, to make matters worse, StRyKeR unfortunately got supply blocked right before this attack happened, so he had a ton of idle larvae.
StRyKeR has got to be so grateful that BoA decided to come down for the third base instead of just going straight into the natural here. But it's still looking so dicey. There are so many zealots here, pulling all the drones, trying to save that one sunken. Great position on that fucking. The drones can drill so well there. Getting some more Hydralisks out, but this is so many zealots, and I think he's just going to be able to overwhelm here. There's still so many zealots left. Some zealots running into the main now. Hydralisk is still dying. Sunken goes down. And now the drones are just free targets for all these zealots, and there's still, a dozen zealots there just crushing through this base. And yeah, this definitely looks like it's going to be a good game for StRyKeR here.
Yeah, really kind of tragic getting supply blocked right before this attack happened, and unfortunately we weren't able to see this build kind of pull out something special here. But BoA takes the series 3-1. Really well played by BoA.
Yeah, super impressive.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to have an interview with BoA because he was busy tonight. So that should be wrapping things up for our cast tonight. But yeah. Still absolutely looking forward to the round of 4. BoA versus Hawk will be a blast to watch. I really hope that Hawk can show us how it's done and get revenge on BoA. We do have some shout outs. First of all, please, if you have a chance, go visit our Matcherino. I believe we're right at like $900 total for the prize pool for this tournament. So, it would be absolutely sick if we were able to break the $1,000 mark and, really reward North American players for, all the hard work that they've been putting in for this tournament and BSL and other tournaments. Also, if you have a chance and you like our events and you'd like to stay up to date, please join the Rogues Gallery Discord. And then also, if you like the games tonight, or just for Brood War in general, if please, I would love to honestly just see more people clipping stuff for our games, sharing them around the community, and post on Reddit about these events, not just Rogues Gallery but BSL. I mean, it's crazy. I wish the Brood War Reddit was a little more active, and even for like BSL events, I feel like I see like no comments. Like it's so dead. But now more than ever with Tastosis not casting ASL anymore, I feel like as foreigners playing Brood War, we need to be stepping up and kind of building up our community. Every avenue that we have, and just trying to get more people involved on different social media platforms and everything. So, yeah.
Great point, Keen. What a great point. Well spoken too.
Thank you, man. Do you have any other shout outs, just?
Yeah, I'm just excited. Thanks for letting me cast. Big shout out to Rogues Gallery, Sean Carlin, and that whole crew for putting this on. Super cool of them. Super excited for next week. I hope you guys all tune in. It's going to be Dragon versus Tai 2, a legendary matchup that's happened throughout the ages. And we also have a very sick matchup. Keen, what's the other matchup?
So next week we have Models versus Crossy.
Yeah, Models versus Cross, which is also a sick matchup. So
yeah. And casting with you again. I'm glad you're back, man. Looking forward to it for sure.
yeah, man. Thanks for having me.